Live from the City of Angels, Monday, emergency edition of MMT. What a score, right? Back to Tenet. Drove all the way to Vegas to see Nolan's Tenet. And I'll never forget the opening scene and Ludwig Göransson's score. MVP of that film, right? Brought him back for Oppenheimer, won the Oscar, 7 Oscars for Oppenheimer. If anyone's a brand, it's Christopher Nolan. We know that. The brand when it comes to directors and box office. And now the breaking news here today, the reason I'm on at 3:30 in the afternoon here in LA. It just came in the news. Christopher Nolan is adapting Homer's The Odyssey. All the details here forthcoming on this breaking edition of MMT. Always live, never on tape. No one can do what we do. That's why we do it, because we dominate, and we're about to do it right now, in the middle of the afternoon here in LA. Shove in with your comments. I'll try to get to as many as possible. I'm going to lay the news out there. We'll discuss it. We'll break it down. And then we are off to the races on this Monday afternoon. Yeah. Let's go. I almost want to just run this underneath the entire stream, right? You guys know I play this music because I don't give a shit about the copyright stuff. The stream is demonetized. I don't care. I want to listen to the Tenet score. And we are. Here we go, guys. Live from City of Angels this time for the emergency edition of MMT. Let me pull that down. Maybe I'll leave it really low in the background. Why not? Let's just keep it like really low. How about right about there? And here we go. Let's pop me up and let's get started here on this Monday afternoon. Again, thanks for being here. As always, we are live from the City of Angels, and you're looking at the news we're discussing here this afternoon. Christopher Nolan's next film is, as I said off the top of this emergency edition of MMT, an adaptation of Homer's The Odyssey. Universal just announced this. Let's go through the news direct from Deadline, the number one source for all entertainment news in this town. Sure, there's Variety and THR and I guess The Ramp, but it's really about Deadline. No one can dethrone Deadline at the top of the pecking order when it comes to entertainment news in this town. So here we go. It's an adaptation of the epic poem composed by Homer. The studio has revealed Nolan's next film, The Odyssey, is a mythic action epic shot across the world using brand new IMAX film technology. And you guys know that IMAX was massive for Oppenheimer. It was sold out for well over a month. Over at Universal, about 10 minutes from where I'm broadcasting here this afternoon, those things, the 70 millimeter IMAXs, were completely sold out. You couldn't get a seat. It just was impossible. He's a brand. He is IMAX, and IMAX will give him probably 2 months exclusivity on this. I mean, why wouldn't they? $188 million in IMAX cash alone for Oppenheimer. Yes, this is an event film. This is an event director, and that's why we're on live, because nobody is bigger than the brand Christopher Nolan. And you look at who's involved with this, you already have a massive cast, and a lot of these people already have worked with Nolan in the past. Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Pattinson's back after Tenet, Lupita Nyong'o, Charlize Theron, and whoever else he wants, right? Because if Christopher Nolan comes knocking on your door, you're saying hell yes. You're not saying no. You're going to get involved with the biggest director in the entire space. A guy who, I mean, think about this. I was thinking about this right before the stream started. Is there a director who has a higher IQ? We don't know. I don't have the proof of this. I can just tell you that I have a feeling that Nolan runs up a 200 IQ. I don't, is that even, he's way up there. This is the smartest filmmaker in the space. Tarantino's brilliant too. Obviously, Bong shows flashes. I just still think for the cash, I'm giving it all to Nolan. That's what Universal did, right? When Universal said we're going to do this, they gave him carte blanche. Why wouldn't they? You have to do that because you're talking about a director who has never really failed, right? And Warner Brothers wanted him back, and Universal already had him. They got him for Oppenheimer. And here's the thing for Nolan, as I'm going to bring down the Tenet score. It's too much. This is the best part of that film, right? When you watch a Nolan film, and Universal is very much aware of this, you just give him whatever he needs. How much is the budget? Is 700 million? Here you go. We're going to wire that cash to you. We'll have it to you within the hour. Whatever this man wants, he gets. And obviously, if you want someone in your film and or a crew, you're going to get whoever you want, the best of the best. I'm sure he's going to bring back Hoyt for this, who just did the Volvo commercial. You're going to get Ludwig back without question. He is the number one, right along with Reznor Ross. But you look at Ludwig Göransson, you're talking about a guy who's already worked with Nolan now twice. He has an Oscar. And I would argue that if you strip out, I think anyone would agree with this. I don't think I have to argue this. If you strip out Ludwig Göransson's score from Oppenheimer and you replace it with like a Desplat or a Lorne Balfe score, this film doesn't win 7 Oscars, right? Certainly not score. Probably doesn't win cinematography, editing. Probably doesn't win actor, supporting, picture, director, screenplay. It doesn't win any of those because it has a shit score. That's how important we talked about last night live on the Sunday Evening Spectacular, how important score is, right? Score is everything. And that's why if you are a director, you got to get someone in that seat who's composing this thing to deliver something memorable, not the same old shit. And that's exactly what Oppenheimer is. And let me tell you, I had a chance to go see Ludwig Göransson's score performed live at UCLA last award season. I don't go to a lot of events, but I went to that one, and it was by far one of the greatest FYC events I've ever had the pleasure of attending. And it was just such powerful moments when I heard that score come through, and you're like in the second row. I was right there. I'm just like, this is just everything, right? Live score as the film is in front of you. They are composing it on the stage. You can't beat that. Let's go over some more of this. It's expected to start shooting next year. Marking Nolan's second. That means, of course, 2025. We're almost there. It's next year is a week away. Okay. So very soon, because it's out in July of 2026. I'll give you the exact date in a second. So this is the second film for Universal with Nolan. As you know, 7-time Oscar winner with Oppenheimer alone. And we're looking at the same window that Oppenheimer had. I believe Tenet too, right? That late July. Why are you going to mess with that? It's kind of like you go back. Remember Disney and the Star Wars? They had it working. They had those Star Wars movies were coming out at Christmas. Then they put Solo out in May, and you wonder why it bombed. Solo's not good. But one of the reasons that it didn't do well is because it is forgettable. It's one of the worst Star Wars movies. Let's make sure that's clear. Anyone who says Solo is a great film, just disregard their opinions. They're done. It's over, right? We're not going to listen to you anymore. The door's closed. Okay. Maybe the Lord Miller Solo, but definitely not the one we got. The Ron Howard Solo. God almighty. Watch that thing in 3D. It looked murky. I was bored down at the ArcLight. No, Rogue One is the best of the new Star Wars films. I'd argue one of the best Star Wars films, period. But back to the scheduling, right? They had that down, then they mucked it up. And same thing here. Don't mess that up, right? People expect Nolan late July now. Give it to them in late July. And that's what they're doing in 2026. So we've got a year and a half, but it's never too early to start talking about a Nolan film because, again, the brand, the cash, the true stature of a legendary active director and Christopher Nolan obviously makes it the event film of 2026. Start the timer. Start the countdown. I get it. So that's really it. Here's the Universal Pictures announcement via Twitter. Basically, the same thing we just talked about. Nolan's next film, The Odyssey, is a mythic action epic shot across the world using brand new IMAX film technology. That's how big he is, right? We're going to give you new technology because he is IMAX. If anyone's, that's why I grabbed my IMAX lanyard today from the other night, Complete Unknown. Go see that film. It's very good. I got this IMAX lanyard, and I go, I think I should wear that for the stream because we're talking about Nolan, and Nolan and IMAX are synonymous, right? I mean, it's just they're interchangeable, right? Nolan, IMAX. You don't go see a Nolan film in laser. You go see it in IMAX. And I think that's what you're starting to see across the board as I get some comments here in a minute. When you look at these event films, the audiences want to watch them on the PLF screens, the IMAX, the Dolby, the Prime, the 40X, whatever you want to choose. 40X did killer business for Regal with Twisters. So you look at these films, they want to see audiences that are smart know if they're going to watch it one time, hell, even more than once, you want to see it in the optimal format for something that deserves it. Now, for some films like last night's huge recommendation, which is Nickel Boys, if you haven't seen that, go see it when it comes to you. It's platforming right now. I love squeezing all this stuff in as we do this, right? No one can do this live. Yeah, I want to make sure this is clear so everyone understands. No one in the space can do what we're doing right now. Not a single person. No one. Just, I want to make sure that's clear so everyone's on the same page. Back to, you look at a film like Nickel Boys, you don't have to see that in the PLF. I still recommend on a big screen because it has so much artistic value to it. That said, you don't have to see it in IMAX. You don't have to see it in Dolby. I would recommend for sure a Complete Unknown in Dolby or IMAX because the sound, you have to have optimal sound with a Complete Unknown. And same thing for a Nolan film, right? You need to watch, when he's using IMAX cameras to shoot the entire film, you better watch it in IMAX. Who cares if it costs a little bit more? By the way, hack. You guys ready for a hack? Get AMC A-List. I'm not paid by AMC, but I'm going to go ahead and shill for them right now because I shill for things I believe in, and I will do that. AMC A-List, $25 a month. You can watch 3 movies per week. That is 12 movies for the month, and you can watch any format, IMAX, Dolby, Prime. This is like a commercial. AMC, I want some cash. Like, that was good. You could cut that out and just paste it on your Twitter feed. That's what we do. We're doing it live. It's 3:38, 6:38 New York. Thanks for being here, as always. Always a pleasure to do this live because we like to impart tons of knowledge and work everything into this thing so we can get you the full picture as we discuss the huge news of Christopher Nolan's next film, The Odyssey. Speaking of which, I want to bring this up and I'll get some comments here. People saying, well, if you're not familiar with Homer's The Odyssey, go back, and that was assigned to us in college. Anyone in college, you're going to read The Odyssey. How long was, well, here it is. We pull up Amazon for those of you who are curious how long the book is. On average, I think it's 12,000 lines, right? The Odyssey, 12,000 lines. So it depends on the font, how many pages. But this particular edition that we're looking at on Amazon is 570 some odd pages, I believe, over 500. Okay. So there's going to be some work for Nolan to adapt this. That said, another point, go back to Universal giving him carte blanche. Do you think they're not going to say yes to a 4-hour runtime? Seriously. Nolan's like, listen, I know the Brutalist is 4 hours. I'm thinking of making the Odyssey 5. And Universal, that's cool. Go for it, bro. I mean, what else? Of course you're going to say yes. You're going to say yes. Because again, your man just made you $1 billion essentially in Oppenheimer cash. And this film has the potential to be an even bigger 4-quad opportunity, right? When you talk about the Odyssey, you're almost talking about a Clash of the Titans minus the Kraken. Okay. These are the things you get from no one else is giving you this. Anyone else, if anyone steals that shit, I swear to God, make sure you hunt them down for me. It is Clash of the Titans minus Medusa, and I don't know, wait, definitely the Kraken and maybe Pegasus, but I love Clash of the Titans. Not the remake, the original Harry Hamlin version. I saw that at a drive-in when I was a kid. I was like, please, Mom and Dad, can I see Clash of the Titans at the drive-in? They took me, and it was amazing. The stop motion, the shit was all that, the rage back then. They didn't have the effects. 2 intermissions, maybe Friendly Pup. It could be possible. I am a font guy, Johnny. I'm a font guy, and I'm also a score guy, right? And obviously cinematography, go back to Hoyt's work, Ad Astra. Hello. I mean, Ad Astra is one of the most criminally underrated films of the past decade, certainly past several years. You look at his work and you put it up against anybody, including Greg Fraser or, Rachel Morrison, who has had some success, has a new film out. You look at any number of really talented cinematographers in the space, and you go back to, obviously, someone who is working with a director before. And I remember this conversation I had when I was at the FYC function for Black Panther back when Ludwig Göransson was nominated. Remember talking to Ludwig that night before he'd really blown up. I mean, he was certainly, people were aware of him, but not like now. Right now, he is the man in the space. I remember talking to both Ludwig, Rachel Morrison was on that film, Black Panther, and Ryan Coogler, director. And I remember talking to Coogler, all three of them, and I asked him the specific question: how crucial is it to work with people that you're familiar with, that you're comfortable with, and to optimize the product that you're trying to deliver? And obviously, you know the answer. It's everything. So you're going to work with people that you are comfortable with, obviously. And that makes sense for pretty much everybody from Oppenheimer to return. As I pull it up and we look at the total, IMDb page of crew on this thing, Ludwig on the score, right? Producing staff, all those. You also have Hoyt, again, cinematography, editing, Jennifer Lame, casting, production design. Ruth de Jong is definitely coming back, right? Whoever, again, if you've worked with Nolan in the past, and certainly recently, there's a good chance Matt Damon, as we know, coming back from Oppenheimer. If Nolan calls, you're going to work with him. You're going to, whatever you were planning to do, you cancel, as soon as you get that call. Even if you were like already agreed to shoot another film in Nolan calls, you're like, listen, let me just get to the other director and tell him no, or her no, right? Because you have to. There's no other way to go about this. Let me pull up the page and see if they've already updated here on IMDb. Again, we're doing this live, as always. Live. We don't ever do things taped. Well, we used to, but not anymore. I mean, never here from the studio. The studio's always been live because we do it better than anybody else. It's not even not a contest. Here we go. Odyssey. It's here. They changed the title. You see Zendaya, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, and there's the rest of the cast that you see. We mentioned Nyong'o, Pattinson back again. Hathaway, obviously, Interstellar. They work. Damon. All these people, Charlize Theron, does she? I don't think she's worked with him. I should, it's funny. You think back to all the Nolan films, you're trying to remember. Well, I know Guy Pearce worked with. Let's see. Here's full cast and crew. So far, we just have production management. We have the producers, Nolan and his wife, and that's pretty much it. So that'll fill out, and I'm sure it'll be the same names we saw. We could cut and paste basically Oppenheimer here, right? If anyone's still alive that worked on Oppenheimer, you're all coming in. You're the entire crew. You're hired. Come on in. And think about this too. When you have a budget this big and you have Nolan who's got carte blanche and gets whatever he wants, you are going to get paid max cash for your involvement. So you want to be in, right? So think about it. I go back to a college football landscape, right? Ohio State Buckeyes. Go Buckeyes. By the way, what a hell of a win over Tennessee. Guy, I almost had lost all faith in Ohio State and the football program and Ryan Day. And then they go on and whip Tennessee's ass. That was unbelievable. Can't wait for the Rose Bowl down the street in Pasadena. I'm probably going to go live because it's 15 minutes away. But when I look at college football, you look at a coach who wants to install his team, right? He wants that offensive coordinator, defense coordinator. He wants all of those people, his people, in the building with him. Just like Nolan here. Nolan, take it from sports, movies to sports, and you're talking about Nolan, the coach, and he's going to bring in his offensive coordinator, defense, all he wants, anything he wants, and he's going to get the cash for it. Universal's going to pay for it. No matter what it is, they're not going to say no. Doesn't matter what the demand is. It's going to get taken care of because of what he means to you, and you want to continue doing business. You look at Warner Brothers, right? Warner Brothers had a chance to keep Nolan. They messed that up. As you guys know, Tenet didn't go that well. Listen, I'm not really going to fault Warner Brothers for Tenet in that. Let me explain why. Remember, that came out during COVID, right? That came out during it's dangerous to go to a movie. If you go to a movie, everyone you know will die. Not just the people you know, the people they know will die, and then their people that they know. We're talking about you go to the theater, and there will be tens of thousands of people who die. If you go to a fucking movie theater, they're all dead. We're talking about 10,000, maybe more. So if you go, That's very dangerous. Remember those times. I have to play that up because you guys need to understand you're not fucking around with this guy. This guy doesn't fucking, he goes hard, okay? I'm not going to pull back. I'm not one of these pansy-ass, chin-stroking, loser film Twitter people. Not one of those people. I will fucking gut them any day of the week. It's not a contest. And let me tell you something. The reason that makes me better and stronger and just overall just domination is because I'm fearless about saying that shit. The rest of them are like, well, maybe I should virtue signal and say, oh, it's like Frosty. Fucking Frosty bitch ass. That dude. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm in it. I'm still here. I'm just here to tell you that fucking bitch was the guy who was telling all of you, don't go out to a movie. You'll die. That fucking clown. If you ever see him out, tell him I'm looking for him for that shit. And then he pretends years later he never said it. Don't do that shit. You said it. You fucking live by it. Don't tell me times have changed. You were the guy spreading that shit. I don't think so, bro. I don't fucking think so. Okay? So back to the... Sorry. This is what you get. Cut it out and send it to him. He's 3 feet tall. I'm not worried about him. Here's the thing. Is that this space is full of people who are scaredy pants. Oh my God, I'm a scaredy cat. I got a virtue signal. I don't do that shit. I don't play that way. And we go back to Tenet coming out during COVID. Do you like that? Do you like that aside? We're talking, and then all of a sudden I have to, because I'm going to do it. Every time it's there, I'm going to take the shot. Every time. So if you don't like it, I got news for you. Too bad. Hit the eject button. Don't care. Here's the reality. We're not doing that again. But we were told. And I had to drive to Vegas to see Tenet. So Warner Brothers said, we'll put it out. Remember, you couldn't watch Tenet. Couldn't see it in LA. All the theaters were closed. Like I just said. Because people like Frosty. Don't go. Oh my God. Dangerous. So I drove to Vegas with Gore when we were still talking. And it was 4 hours one way. Oh, what a horrible, boring drive. God, from LA to Vegas is like death. You get halfway there and you're like, are we here? And you're like, no, I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to stop here at the jerky stand and we're just going to hang out. And then we'll turn around. I'm not going. But I wanted to see Tenet so bad because it's the brand, it's Tenet, and it blew me away in IMAX. I don't love it from a screenplay perspective, right? It's kind of like, what the fuck is happening here? But from a cinematic experience standpoint and the score and the cinematography, then we're talking about something fantastic, right? So that was good. Yeah, and Friendly, I think that's the other thing about COVID and Tenet was one of the movies that, and I give him a lot of credit because he pushed Warner Brothers to put that thing out, and they did. So I don't fault Warner Brothers for the whole Tenet thing because he asked for it, they got it. I had to see it in Orange County when they finally reopened some of the theaters in California. Oh my God, that was insane, guys. That time period, the fact that people just sit there and go, that was fine. What happened then was totally acceptable. Is insane. You're gonna walk this way down the aisle and this way. Make sure you follow the fucking arrows. We can only have 5 people in the store. There's a line outside like Disneyland. This is insanity. Listen. You need to understand, and the Odyssey is perfect to discuss here today. In what I'm about to say, life is full of risk. Life is full of danger. You cannot live in a hermetically sealed capsule in your world. You have to get out there and experience life. And I did. I didn't change a single thing. And I'm here today with you. I know, wow, some people didn't make it. Okay, yeah. So that's life. I don't know what to tell you, man. We can't mitigate all risk. It's not going to happen. So if you're one of those people, we're not going to be compatible. It's never going to happen. Anyone who's watched MMT knows I don't play that way. Okay. So back to I just was going to talk about the movie. This is what you get. It's essentially, I don't know why people hate him. Risky Gumyar. I don't know why they hate him. I think he's fantastic. Steve, thanks for being here today. I'm going to get to as many comments as possible. It's just me running the show, so I'm hitting all these. So I'm not reading a teleprompter, as you guys can clearly tell. The trailer, listen, they haven't even started shooting yet. Louis. So I think that we have to wait at least till maybe mid to late 2026, right? Maybe October 2025. Okay. 2025, October. Maybe like a quick teaser. Is Nolan going to time flip the narrative? Who knows? That's a good question because obviously it's set in way in the past in what 8 BCE or something, I believe is the exact date. So you look at a film that could be flipped and turned into modern, of course, but I don't know. I have a feeling he's just going to leave it how it is. That's my guess. I can't say because Nolan can do whatever he wants. And that's going to be the challenge, is adapting this into whatever he wants the world to be for this adaptation, which, you talk about something that you maybe think is easy, right? Going about creating the production design, the world building of whatever you're doing from a filmmaking standpoint, that is brutalizingly hard, right? I mean, can you imagine, especially a period piece, when you talk about anything epic in scope, which of course that's Nolan, anything that has a massive scope and then you throw a period aspect to it, you're talking about major cash on the production value, how much you're going to have to pay. I mean, you're talking about a lot of money. But again, you look at Universal, they'll give him 300-400 million. They're not, it doesn't even matter. Again, it's a blank check, 500 million. Most expensive movie ever made. Doesn't matter. You're going to place your bet on Nolan. Even, let me explain something to you. Even if you think that this is not going to be huge, let's just say, and no one thinks that, but let's imagine you're like, I don't know, you're going to give Nolan 500 million, okay, in the hopes that you're going to make $1 billion, then you'll lose, and then you'll make money eventually, because even if it makes $1 billion, let's say it's 500 million, which they're not going to 500. But I'm just saying, let's just go crazy. 500 million. You need 2.5 times to make profit. So that's $1 million. That's $1 billion to 50 million, right? 1.25 billion to break even. So let's say it makes $1 billion in box office or more, because if this is a 4-quad film, it's a PG-13, you're going to get more kids. Did any kids want to see Oppenheimer? Forget the fact that you've got Florence Pugh grinding with Cillian Murphy. Forget that. It's not a kid's movie, right? So you don't have any of that 4-quad action. So if you get an Interstellar kind of Odyssey thing with a 4-quad-ish component to it, then you're talking about, here's your $400-500 million, because you're probably going to make $1 billion too, easy. I mean, if Oppenheimer made 990 or whatever it's at $1 billion, it might have finally crossed that. Then you can definitely, on a 4-quad PG-13, 4-quad-ish, right? Let's call it 3.5 quad. Again, 4-quad, young, old, male, female, everybody, the entire demo's in, right? So 3.5 would be almost the entire pie. So you're looking at a 3.5 quad / 4-quad film. You're talking about $1 billion too. So that is a break even. And that's just on the theatrical alone. Now, yes, there's production, there's some advertising, print and advertising, they call it, right? To promote it, all that stuff. That costs money too. That's going to be a lot of money. But either way, you're going to give it to them. Now, let me explain why. You're going to make your money back, likely. But let's say you don't. What do you want more than anything? You want to keep Christopher Nolan happy. You want to keep him at Universal Pictures. You want to keep him working with you. And to do that, you give him whatever he wants. And you look at Warner Brothers. They tried to woo him back. They tried to say, hey, listen, we'd like to have you come back with us because we've had success in the past. And we'll re-release Tenet. By the way, that was my suggestion. Anyone who that was 100% came from this microphone, please look. The receipts are on Twitter. I said, put Tenet back in theaters because a lot of people didn't get a chance to see it in IMAX. And it was sold out, right? So Warner Brothers tried to get him back into the fold. And he's like, no, I'm going to stay with Universal. Why? Because he already knows what he has. In life, you take what you have, especially if it's good. You're not going to, right? If you're married to a supermodel, you're probably not going to cheat. That's not to say it won't happen. I'm sure it has, especially if you're a big rock star. But in general, you're like, I think I'm good. I think I've done pretty well here. I'm not going to even look anywhere else, right? This is a wonderful woman here, or man, whatever way you go. And the point is that when you look at Nolan, he's like, hey, I've got myself a beautiful bride in Universal. They're giving me everything I want. I'm not delving into that. We're not going to go from the marriage thing into everything I want. It's not happening, okay? We already talked about Adriana Chechik last night. We're not doing it tonight. Not today, not tonight. Not happening. When you look at Universal, they're giving him everything you want. So why wouldn't they just go ahead and why would you leave? You wouldn't leave. Filming's in the first half of 2025. So maybe yeah, exactly, Eric. Hey, by the way, welcome to everyone who's never watched MMT. This is kind of fun to do an afternoon show because a lot of times it's late. We are usually on at 8 o'clock here in LA, 11 o'clock on the West Coast, every Sunday for sure. And then typically throughout the week on Thursday, because that's when the new movies come out. Also this week, I want to mention on Christmas night, we'll be here doing our live MMT evaluation of Nosferatu. That's coming up this Wednesday on Christmas night. We'll do that. And we can also talk about this too. Any other comments? Let's keep going. Otherwise, I'll reset and we'll get ready to roll out at some point. I mean, you know me, guys. Honestly, I could talk for 3 hours. I just keep repeating and then just brush out the strokes again. And then we'll try this and we'll go a little further here and we'll do COVID again. No, I'm not going to do. Ray Fine starred in The Return, an Odyssey film no one watched. I didn't see it. Exactly. No one saw it. Wait a second. Hold on. What was the one with him? That wasn't an Odyssey movie. There was a movie that was badass that was directed by Hold on, what was that? Let me find it. I got to look here. Now that you said that, it was when I was in Boston, I saw a movie that was unreal. I want to say Gerard Butler was in it with Ray Fine. Do you guys help me out here without me having to look here? What was the name of that? He directed it, and I don't remember. Hold on, I'm going to find it. Give me a second. I got to find it here. It's going to show up here, and I'm going to say, holy shit, this movie's badass. You ready? If you haven't seen this movie, give me a second. Someone's already in the comments going, I know what movie it was. Here it is. Let me click on it. Here's that. And we're getting back. Don't worry. We'll talk about Nolan. I just want to mention Conclave. It's way back in like 2010. God, he's got so many movies. God, how many movies this man made? Let's see, 2015, 14. I want to say he directed it. Coriolanus. That was it. This movie's amazing, dude. If you guys have never seen this, you need to watch this film. This film's badass. Really cool film. Other comments here on this. What is it, Monday? By the way, Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate. Hopefully all of you. Most of you. At least, I mean, if you have kids, you definitely do. Cornelius is close. Yeah, it's close. Warner Brothers bet against Nolan and lost. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. When you take that risk, yeah, you were close. You're very close. Good job, Safik. I couldn't remember. It's really good. It's very well directed. And he directed it, right? I'm 90 side. Let me see. Did he direct it? I'm pretty sure he did. All right, let's reset the table and then we'll get ready to go one more time. Let's actually do the THR article. So we already did the Deadline article. Let's see what they have to say. It's got to be what their top story is the Baldoni Blake Lively thing. What's going on here? How is that the top story? What? The top story is this. What are we doing? We talked about that Blake Lively thing last night. All right, let's see what they have to say. Matt Damon stars, 2026 release date. Same shit we've been saying the entire stream. Speculation's over. Odyssey, mythic action, epic shot across the world using brand new IMAX film technology. That's, of course, from the tweet. July 17, 2026. Same release date, essentially, as Oppenheimer, and that's his window. That's his money-making window. Put Nolan in late July. Nolan has delved into period pieces before, including Best Picture. Not picture, but pitter. They need to fix that. THR, get on. Oh, I got an ad. Just give me a second. I'm gonna pop this ad out. Why are they showing me what the best picture? They didn't spell it right. They didn't spell picture. And then we have The Prestige. Of course, you guys are obviously that was. You talk about a movie that didn't quite fire from a box office standpoint. Let me see what But I don't know. I don't think that was very good, if I remember, as far as box office. Give me a second. I want to say it's one of his weakest. Give me a second. I mean, you got to go way back to 2006 on that. Hold on. Let's pull it up. Yeah, 109 million worldwide. That's not good. Not great. I mean, no, not like Nolan today, right? But remember, Nolan wasn't the brand back in 2006. He is now, right? Dark Knight and all that. The trilogy. That's what really got him going, and that was after that. So the Odyssey marked a change of pace for the filmmaker. Homer's epic poem dates back to the 8th century BC, tells of gods, goddesses, and monsters, type of material foreign to Nolan's work so far. Again, it's Nolan's Clash of the Titans. That is what we're calling this. Still, the filmmaker has dealt with plenty of fantastical material, including making Batman believable for post 9/11 audiences and bringing realism to sci-fi notions such as shared dreams and Inception and intergalactic travel and Interstellar. They don't have a Oh, I'm reading it. I am reading it. The epic poem has been adapted multiple times, including the Kirk Douglas star Ulysses in 1954. Oh, also the Coen brothers, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That, and also Troy. Troy's cool. I like Troy. All the way. By the way, that's when Brad Pitt got jacked. Brad Pitt looks really good, right? Physically. Physique critique, A. And according to Troy director Wolfgang Peterson, Nolan himself was in the running for that movie. See, there you go. So Nolan was in the running for Troy, didn't get it. So now he gets to make whatever movie he wants. He can make his own Troy and do whatever he wants. Again, it get 5 hours long. It's Nolan, do whatever he wants. Nolan began his year winning the Oscars. Yeah, we already talked about that. That's it. That's everything we've talked about. We even gave you more information than THR or Variety. Nolan saw Gladiator 2. Oh my God, right? You know what? That's interesting. Let me pull that back up from last night. We dragged Nolan last night on the Sunday night show because he said that Gladiator 2 is a good movie, and we're like, oh, what? Dude, Gladiator 2 is not a good movie. It's incredibly unremarkable on so many different levels. I don't know if I can find it anymore. I don't know if I have it from last night, but he was basically praising that film, and you're just like, why? Why are you I understand. Remember, we talked about this so often. We're already at 35 minutes. This is longer than I expected to go. That's typical for an MMT. When you look at him praising Ridley Scott, when your hero is still working, you're going to still think that they are, a god. And the unfortunate reality is anyone who sat through Gladiator 2 knows, except for Soups, who called it the best movie ever made. It's very underwhelming at every level. It's the middest movie at best that you could ever imagine. And I think that you look at it from a filmmaking perspective and it's just lazy. And I saw, listen, we called that before we knew the cinematographer said that he's just lazy. The cinematographer came out and called him out, said he doesn't even give us time to set the shots. He's just like, just shoot. He's like Eastwood now. Just get the cameras in position. We got 4 cameras. Everyone roll. Good, we're done. They're like, it doesn't quite work like that. We have to light it. I don't care. And you can see it. The film doesn't have that luster of some really rich work. It just feels really shitty. The movie just doesn't look good. Nothing about it's amazing. It definitely isn't a best picture. There's so many films I've seen in a bad year this year that are better than Gladiator 2. Gladiator 2 is not the worst movie of the year. Like, that's a special list, guys. When we get to that, it's going to be something else. Wait till you hear these movies were not just bad. These were truly putrid, nadir level shit that I had to sit through this year. But you look at what he does now, and it's just very disappointing. Ridley Scott should retire. Nolan's not near that, right? He's younger than Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott's done it. He's been there. He's climbed the mountain, and he's done climbing the mountain. He needs to stop making movies because Gladiator 2 is very much proof of that. But Nolan praised him, and we're like, what? Because again, he's your hero. So remember, when we step into any evaluation, we have never once evaluated a film higher or lower based on legacy. Never once. I don't care if I loved the director's last work, the film before that, what, it doesn't matter. If it's always about the film that's in front of you. And the problem we have in this space, I've said it so many times, might as well do it now here on a Monday afternoon. I can say it to someone who hasn't heard it yet. The problem in this space is the majority of people who operate in the film journalism / critique / whatever you want to talk it space. The problem is this. They all evaluate based on the legacy of the filmmaker. In other words, hey, look no further than Ari Aster. You went into Beau is Afraid. Oh, well, this is a guy who gave us Hereditary and Midsommar. So therefore, fuck, this is terrible. That's what insane thing with Damien Chazelle Babylon called it. You have to be fearless. You have to have talent, and you have to know that legacy does not even enter the picture on an evaluation. Now, that said, Nolan's films are always going to be of elite level, right, across the board. But I still have to see it. I can't instantly proclaim the Odyssey a masterpiece until I see it. And that's the thing. Everyone in the space rushes to say this director's back, therefore it's great. Don't listen to those people. They are so unreliable. And also, you know what the sad part is? They have no fucking guts, no balls, no cojones, however you want to put it. They have no ability to stand on their own and say, this is shit. And Nora's another example. Sean Baker, beloved by film Twitter, and everyone's like, Nora's the best thing. And you watch, and I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing? I'll never do that. And when we go into the Odyssey, I will not sit here and say, we're going to evaluate this on, I'm showing everybody my mullet. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it out a little. It's coming in good. You evaluate on what you're watching right now. You don't evaluate based on the past. Can you guys see it's there? It's there. It's almost, you can see it. It's looking good. The mullet's coming in. It was a goal for the latter part of the year, and I'm here. It's finally arrived. Nolan should remake oh my God, dude, Megalopolis is it's really tough this year to tell you what the number one worst film. I'm going to hold that until we do the worst films of the year. But I promise you this. If I have to pick 10, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be so hard to whittle out anything, to whittle down to eliminate anything there's so many, but it's really hard for me to even think about Megalopolis having sat through the front room. None of you watched the front room, so just know that when I say this, if you did, you feel me. You feel the absolute gut-wrenching pain that you were experiencing watching that from Robert Daniels' brothers, who had no business behind a director, no business making a film, not the front room. Front room in Megalopolis, man, that's a head-to-head clash of some shit right there. Like, that is some next level awfulness. But no one should ever touch Megalopolis again. Another thing we talk about, go back to Megalopolis, we hammered that. It's so bad. Anybody, and I believe Justin Chang is here. I'm sure he's not on the stream because I drag him all the time. Justin Chang, I believe, said that Megalopolis needs to be watched more than once to appreciate like how great it is. For someone who won the Pulitzer Prize, I can't tell you how fucked that is to you guys. That is how you instantly destroy any credibility you have with anybody for the remainder of time. There's no regaining that. It's never like, well, you always, you said Megalopolis was good. Damn, bro, it's done, man. It's done. No. You're never coming back. It's never coming back. These people are canceling themselves with these recommendations. I have never, outside of Thor: Love and Thunder, which I think is fun. But Thor: Love and Thunder is not fucking Coppola. You guys understand that, right? So if I recommend Thor: Love and Thunder and I had fun with it, then it's way different than me coming out and saying Megalopolis is an instant classic. It has terrible cinematography. The screenplay is bad. That's being it's atrocious. And then you have some acting that's laughable. It's a Razzie film across the board. Anyone who says Megalopolis is the work of a great director is going on legacy, and therefore they're not to be trusted for the remainder of time. You can't trust these people. No, Friendly Pup. You guys understand this. Listen, when you proclaim a film like Megalopolis to be a great film or even a good film, it is over. There's no return. There's no coming back. It's never coming back. And I know that there's a lot of people with Nora that are like, oh, I didn't hate as much as you. I don't think it's that bad. I'm just here to tell you that I personally, if you think Nora is a great film, I will never listen to you about anything ever again. It's never. You could tell me that something that's 100% verified, I can see with my own eyes, and I'll still say that's bullshit because you liked Nora. That's my prerogative. But there's some films like Megalopolis, there's no room for discussion. There's none. No room for any kind of debate. That film is garbage, and Coppola threw all his cash in the trash, and then literally I can't. I don't even want to talk about the movie. It's so bad. It's no, Friendly Pup. That's the thing. And you go find Justin Chang, the Pulitzer Prize winning critic, the most learned, smartest, chin strokingest person in the entire space, tells you need to see the movie. Do you guys understand that if that were me, you guys would come out? You know how many people come after me? Weber this, Weber that. He said this. I just drag Frosty here and there. Now I'm dragging Justin Chang. Now I drag who else? Robert Daniels. I'll drag all of them. They all fucking suck. Do you understand? I can't put it any more succinctly. We live in a space that is occupied by fucking idiots and people that evaluate based on curves. They have agendas. They aren't talented. They aren't fearless. They are essentially useless. And when you have a space full of those people, you wonder why I go off on them, because they're so bad. They're terrible. Don't get me started on fantasy. I'm not doing it today. Someone sent me a video. I'm not going to play it. I can't. Again, has all the edge of the dullest butter knife in the drawer. All right. Any other comments here? Oh, Scott Coppola, man, Eastwood. Who made the better Slacker? That's a great question. This year, Man was last year. Ferrari's not a great film. Again, do not listen. That's not a great film. Eastwood, Juror is not a good film either. The fact people think that's an awards film is very laughable. Of all of these, it probably is Ridley Scott. But these are all bad. These are all bad. I mean, Eastwood made the most competent film, but there's nothing about Juror 2 that's interesting. You want to watch a good courtroom drama that has similar feels? Go watch Presumed Innocent with Harrison Ford. It destroys it. There's no reason to watch Juror number 2. So don't. A couple more seconds here, and we're out of here. Let's see if I missed any super chats, anything. Anyone who is new here, thanks for being here. We're about ready to leave. Thanks for being here. As always, guys, it's a pleasure, and we like doing these things live. We don't have to, type them out and print them up and then get a teleprompter ready and start reading. I'm reading your comments. I'm pushing buttons. I'm all by myself today, live from the City of Angels. It's 4:10. We did 45 minutes of this. That is perfect. That's everything you need to know and stuff you maybe didn't need to know. Welcome to MMT. Thanks for being here. Back here Christmas night for Nosferatu. And we'll see. My problem with Eggers, just quickly before we get into that, before we talk about it on Wednesday, my problem with Eggers is very simple. Very little emotion in his films. They're very sterile, cold films. I understand that you have to imbue more emotion into The Northman. It's just not there. The Witch, fine. Lighthouse, fine. Get it. That worked not with The Northman. So we'll see. With Nosferatu, I better feel some emotion. I better feel something for the characters. If I do not, I'm just going to say the same thing I say about Eggers over and over. Style, no emotion. Style, cold. Style, frigid. I can't do it again. We'll see on Wednesday night here on Christmas night. See you then. Until then, peace out. Live from LA. Stream's over.